Hi everyone, welcome back to Spiritual Growth Tarot. I'm Denise, and today I'm using Jamie Sawyer's Tarot. If you like it, it's available on Etsy. And the reading is for Saturday, May 15th, 2021. But of course, I'm always looking for a timeless message that can help us to heal our souls. Okay, so we have the... what do we have? The Six of Cups, but it's reversed. And we have the Nine of Cups right here, straight up. And we have the Two of Wands. These cards are gorgeous. Two of Wands, but it's reversed. So our theme here with the Six of Cups reversed, that's my card for childhood trauma. For childhood wounding, which comes from us not having our real needs met, our essential needs, our, survival needs, survival issues when we're very, very young. So when the Six of Cups comes through, I mean, we can see right here, it's, it can sometimes be sibling issues, like sibling rivalry when it's reversed. I'm going to leave it upright just so you can see the beauty of the image. It has to do with, when we don't have those real needs met, we have to remember the real needs are to have safety and love and connection, and to have warmth and closeness. It's all the same thing within the connection, and then to also be seen and heard and understood. And when you have that, then if you're seen and heard and understood when you're really little, and that that continues out through the rest of your childhood, we grow up to be adults who have our creative self-expression and our self-confidence intact. But of course, many of us did not have childhoods like that. And we even had, sibling rivalry. We've had a home that just was not a home where maybe we felt trapped, where we felt like we couldn't get away from the negativity, where we didn't have the closeness and comfort that we needed because somebody else was demanding all the attention, or somebody else was just negligent. So this can happen when we've had parents who were neglectful, which is also a form of abuse. And then, of course, we've had parents who spank and yell and put their children down, and maybe even pit the one child against the other, or a couple of children against a couple others, or there's the one child singled out as like the bad sheep, and that one is carrying the burden for the rest of the family. So sometimes, well, always, this card has to do with the past. So always the answer is, and I try to not get into that dualistic like always or never, but I do have to say that always the task is to get inside the painful past, do the grief work, like grieve. We have to grieve our childhoods. We have to become aware of where our parents weren't there for us, or caretakers were abusive or not there for us. And we literally have to go through the painful grief. And we also have to be in the present moment as we're going through it, or at some point. It's like you have to dive into the past, feel the pain, go through it, but then be in that present moment where you go, oh, wait a minute. That was the past, and I'm an adult now, and I can take care of myself. And this is where we learn how to reparent ourselves. We learn how to go back in the past and love the inner child through it, or rebel, against the parent. But then at some point there is the choice for forgiveness. But it's all leading to our emotional fulfillment. It's all leading to, that beautiful, loving place for ourselves. Some of the things that helped me to heal the past with my childhood was to imagine how awful it must have been for my parents, because I know that their childhoods weren't perfect, or it's never perfect. There's no such thing as perfection on earth. There's just no such thing at all. So we have to become aware of that, accept it, and then once we go through the pain, this is a really important part. Once we go through the pain of the childhood trauma and accept it, process it through, then we can hand it over to the universe to help bring us home to who we truly are. And then that's when the fulfillment starts coming in. That's where this Nine of Cups comes in and creates success and a positive, positive pleasure in our lives. This is where, all the feelings can flow through freely, and we're current and present with our intuition, and we can create abundance, and where we can get our real needs met as adults. But if we don't go through the pain, what happens is that we stay stuck. We can stay stuck in the past, and then we have this point of view about life that's just really unrealistic, and we have trouble, growing up and being independent. So pat yourself on the back for all the places where you're very independent and where you've left the painful past of your family home. Whether or not you still live there, or whether or not you have family members with you, no matter what, you have yourself, and you have your independence, your authority, and that's where you really want to pat yourself on the back there. You absolutely want to do that. And then with the Two of Wands, let me dive in here. I'm sorry. With the Two of Wands reversed, that has this sometimes being afraid of making changes, and sometimes not having the progress that we want over the painful past. But it's okay. Just allow yourself to focus on what it is that you really, really want. That will always be the key. And then work to turn it around and look for where you can have some progress, where you do have the ability to plan, where you could be at a crossroads, but you can plan to liberate your spirit into this place of positive pleasure, where you can have happiness in your own home, and where you can have happiness, a breakthrough, many breakthroughs of happiness over your childhood, over a painful childhood. If we feel restless, usually it's something coming up from the past that's trying to break through. That can sometimes be the case with the Two of Wands. And some of us tend to want to run away and avoid the painful past. That can happen as well with the Two of Wands. But it did come through reverse, so that's more about the fear of change. Now, if that's the case, if there's a strong fear of change going on, that's where we know that we're still in survival. And that's okay, because as a little one, first of all, we have to have survival tactics. And we don't want to pull those survival tactics out until we're ready. The fulfillment, the promise of the, going through the process and getting to the fulfillment, that's there off into the future, no matter how long it takes. And we circle around and go through it as many times as we need, and there is no judgment over that. There is no judgment at all. Because independence is sure to come, but we really do have to be, cognizant of the process of getting out of survival first, because that's most important. So this is where we can take the healing process, turns into a process of where we can take our adult self into the realm of our child self and ask, well, but hey, like, what are you really afraid of? Like, what's going on there? And we learn how to shepherd ourselves through it. I'm thinking of, I just had a flash on my dear friend over at Foolish Tarot. I love that she talks about her war chief and her camp counselor. She's very deeply in touch with two parts of herself who have helped her to heal. And sometimes we do need our war chief to protect us. We all can have an inner war chief. We can take our cues from her wisdom and learn from her process. And sometimes it's good to have our camp counselor in charge, and other times it's good to have our war chief in charge. And just the beauty of going through that process to get in touch with the past and then to be able to move forward in a new way is just, I think, the most perfect thing to do. So let me move these cards ahead here and bring in the Animal Spirit Oracle. Over at Foolish Tarot, she's using these cards too, and I love the message she's getting because, well, she's actually been reading out of the book, which I highly recommend, but I never have the patience. Oh, there we go. There's the first one. Okay. Oh, yeah, of course. Okay, let's see. Let's get two more cards. Okay, this one here and this one right here. Turkey? I don't want to be a turkey. I'm just joking there. Okay. So we have this card I really love. The Brown Bear says to take time out. Of course, this, the Two of Wands reverse is definitely taking time out. And that has everything to do with the healing process. Because first you have to go through the painful past, the childhood wounding. And then you have to, you're grieving, that you're literally meeting the pain. There is a release, and then there's integration. And it takes time for the integration, and you don't want to avoid it, and you don't want to rush anything, And then Turkey Spirit comes in, saying to give with gratitude and grace. Well, how about, because it came in around the card of the childhood trauma, how about we give ourselves, how about we give gratitude to our higher selves that can shepherd us through the process? How about we give gratitude to our inner war chief and camp counselor? And then that gratitude to those parts of ourselves, because we're human beings. We have many, many, many parts. But we predominantly have a higher self, a lower self, and then the mask that wants to cover up the lower self. So when we are on our knees in our pain, and we have, come back home to ourselves because we've done the grief process, there's no need for any mask. And Rhino Spirit is here to tell us that with our war chief and our camp counselor, like Foolish Tarot teaches, we can overcome any obstacle. I love that. And we don't have to like push it through, you know, with the big horns here. But if need be, this can be my war chief, right? If you have to, if I have to like poke myself in my own butt to get me going like into my pain, if that's what needs to be, or to pull myself out of my self-pity or wherever I'm at, you know, whatever place I'm in, we have that ability to do that. I love the flowers around it and the wings. There's wings on this rhino. Oh, awesome. Yeah. So we can give ourselves that push if we need to. And I think the brown bear is maybe the place where, besides taking the time out to integrate, taking the time out to grieve, the time out to kind of sniff out, like, what are we afraid of changing, or why is the fear there, can also be very, very useful in figuring out where we're at. Because if you go into your cave, and you go into your inner cave, you can figure out where you're actually at. And that's good, because that's how we like track our progress, we track a pattern that we've been in the past. And to give ourselves that space, is what's really what's really important. It needs to happen, and that's how we overcome the obstacle. So I think that's it. Thanks, you guys, and big shout out, big hugs and love to you, Foolish. And I'll be back soon. Okay, bye.